My movie star husband, overwhelmed with joy after learning about my pregnancy, went online for help. My darling wife is pregnant. Besides a cruise, a mansion, and a private jet, what else can I gift her? I saw the pregnancy test he posted online. Taking a leap of faith, I decided to play along and make a public announcement of my own. Just get me a plane ticket. We need to be together all the time. Instantly, my Weibo account was flooded with angry comments. Avery, are you a pig? You're trying to latch onto Kale and Fiona's baby? So disgusting. I was completely baffled. Clicking into Fiona's live stream, I saw her wearing my pajamas, sitting in the mansion my husband had just given me, bossing around about choosing a prenatal nutritionist. I was furious. I went live to tell her to get out of my house. But in the middle of our confrontation, my husband Kale's private account appeared on Fiona's live stream, showering her with 9,999 carnival gifts, making a very public declaration of love. Fiona, looking at Kale's pledges, challenged me to meet her at the mansion. Driven by the urge to tear apart the homewrecker, I rushed to the villa, only to find Fiona flaunting a marriage certificate, a property deed, and Kale's signed prenatal exam paperwork. Seeing the evidence of their love, I called my husband. If you don't explain your relationship with Fiona today, don't even think about stepping foot in my house. Overjoyed by the news of my pregnancy, my movie star husband, Kale, was not satisfied with just a cruise, a mansion, and a private jet. He took to the internet asking for suggestions. Looking at the pregnancy test he had posted on Weibo, my heart warmed. I immediately replied with a playful message. As soon as I hit send, my unread messages exploded. They were quickly past 999 and climbing. I felt nervous opening them. After all, Kale and I were secretly married, trying to keep our family life private for his career. I didn't know if revealing our pregnancy would be met with joy or concern. When I finally opened the message tab, I was stunned. The messages were all identical, accusing me of trying to steal someone else's spotlight. Avery, can you stop trying to steal the limelight? You were forced to leave the industry because you're so awful. Why can't you learn to have some shame? You're trying to claim the movie star's child with Fiona? Please, do you even have any self-awareness? Ugh, you're a leech, Avery. We need to be together all the time. Seriously? I wish I could smack you onto the wall and watch you try to peel yourself off. I frowned, feeling helpless. Why should Fiona even be involved in my pregnancy? From the moment she entered the entertainment industry, Fiona had been obsessed with competing with me. Even though I had mostly retired, she was still inciting her fans to online harass me. I decided to go to Fiona's page and send her a private message. Unfortunately, I accidentally clicked on her live stream instead. The next second, I saw Fiona wearing my pajamas, lounging in the mansion my husband had bought for me. I had never even been to the mansion. How did she get in? I immediately sent a message in the chat. Who allowed you to stream from my house? Get out. However, there were so many fans watching, my comment was drowned out by a flood of other viewers' blessings. They were all praising Fiona for her good fortune. Wow, it turns out that our Fiona and the movie star are secretly married. She's the real leading lady. Avery, Fiona's rival, was just trying to jump on the bandwagon. She got instantly blasted. It's hilarious. Fiona, is this the new mansion the movie star gave you? It's so luxurious. Girl, you're so lucky. Fiona leaned back comfortably on the sofa, casually choosing prenatal nutritionists and nannies for the future, only occasionally acknowledging her fans. The more she did this, the more her fans praised her for being the true mistress of the house. Watching this absurd scene unfold, I couldn't help but laugh. I then sent a request to go live with her. Seeing my profile picture pop up, the whole live stream went wild. Oh, look who's back. The leech is trying to cling to Fiona again. Fiona, accept her request. We confirmed her ID. It's Avery's real account. Why is she so persistent? Amid the clamor, Fiona frowned, rolled her eyes, and answered my video call. Avery, everyone says you're a spotlight seeker. I didn't believe it until now. You actually dared to come into my live stream? You just want to be yelled at to your face. I couldn't even get a word in before Fiona's rant. I was so frustrated. Losing my politeness, I said, Miss Fiona, trespassing is illegal. You have 5 minutes to get out of my house. Hearing my stern command, Fiona was taken aback, and then started to scream. Your house? Avery, have you lost your mind? Cale bought this mansion for me. How can you be so shameless? You're lying to everyone right in front of their eyes. I chuckled at Fiona's reaction. Stop talking nonsense. I am Cale's legal wife, and this mansion is in my name. Hearing my firm tone, some fans started to recall the rumors. Weren't there rumors about Avery and Cale being together before? Could it be true? I heard Avery retired to focus on getting pregnant. Could she actually be the movie star's wife? Fiona became enraged by the skeptical comments and slammed her hand on the table. Enough! Avery only left the industry because she had no opportunities. Stop the nonsense about trying to get pregnant. You love to steal the spotlight, don't you? Today I'll show you proof of my love with Cale. With that, she stood up and pointed the camera at the wall. Every wall in the mansion was covered with Fiona and Cale's wedding photos. My mind went blank. I couldn't be around the fumes during my pregnancy, so I hadn't even visited the mansion while it was under construction. But I distinctly remembered that the walls were originally covered with antique paintings that I had collected and paid a lot of money for. Cale had excitedly taken pictures after hanging them up, and even asked for a reward. How could they now be replaced by their wedding photos? I started looking through my phone for the pictures, only to realize that they had been automatically deleted because they were too old. Seeing my bewildered expression as I stared at my phone, a stream of ha 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 flooded the comments. Avery is completely dumbfounded. She probably never imagined that these two are really in love. Those photos are proof. Avery asked for proof and got it. Now go and apologize to Fiona. Apologize? I should be calling the police on her. Looking at Fiona's smug face, I suppressed my anger and continued to question her. Where are my antique paintings? They're priceless items. Who allowed you to replace them? Fiona, you better return my house to the way it was. Otherwise, I will call the police. Fiona frowned slightly, seemingly considering something. But a second later, an account with a golden name entered Fiona's live stream. Fans quickly recognized it as Cale's private account, and messages like brother-in-law flooded the chat. Brother-in-law, you're here. We're here to protect our sister-in-law. Brother-in-law, Avery is trying to latch onto the spotlight again, making our sister-in-law upset. Congrats on the baby, brother-in-law. Are you filming abroad? Can you show us some behind the scenes? I didn't say a word, rolling my eyes at the screen. Cale's private account was here. I would see how Fiona could keep up her charade. I quietly waited for Cale to clarify the situation and apologize, but I didn't expect him to start showering Fiona with carnival gifts in the live stream. What? Has the world gone crazy? The Cale who wanted to be by my side every minute was showering my former rival with gifts? I stared in disbelief. Meanwhile, Fiona smiled sweetly. Thank you, darling. Stop sending gifts. After I settle things here, I'll come to see you abroad. The gifts continued. Cale typed a single word. Okay. Fiona, reading the word, practically grinned from ear to ear. Oh right, darling. This Avery suddenly popped up, claiming that it's our child. Can you believe there are such shameless women in the world? Following Fiona's complaint, her fans started criticizing me. Messages flooded the screen, cursing and insulting me for seeking attention. Finally, Cale's private account typed a message. Honey, just focus on taking care of yourself. I'll deal with this attention-seeking leech once I get back. Seeing Cale's promise, Fiona smiled smugly. Avery, well, my husband said he'll teach you a lesson when he gets back. Are you scared now? If you are, you better kneel down and apologize to me. Otherwise, with my husband's power, I'll make sure that you'll never be able to survive in this industry, or even in this country. I couldn't be bothered to argue with Fiona. I sent a private message to Cale's personal account. Are you out of your mind, Cale? You know that Fiona is my rival. Why are you cooperating with her? You better come back and explain things to my face, or I'll never forgive you. I sent messages like a madwoman, only to find that my messages were not going through. Cale had blocked me. Looking at the red exclamation mark on the screen, my heart was pounding, and my hands started to tremble. What was happening? Did Kale go crazy after being overseas for so long? I was still trying to understand the situation, while Fiona shouted my name. Avery, why are you always chasing my Kale? Now we even have a child. How can you shamelessly intrude? You've been asking for it. Kneel down and apologize to me. Otherwise, if my baby gets upset because of you, you won't be able to bear Kale's wrath. Already on edge, I was infuriated by her words. I immediately drove to the mansion. Arriving at the door, I found that my birthday was not working as the passcode. Kale had always said that all his passcodes were my birthday. I tried a few more times, but all I heard was an error message. Just as I was about to try again, the door was open from the inside. Fiona looked me up and down with a smirk and said, "Did everyone see that? This leech doesn't even know the passcode to this mansion. She dares to claim that she is Kale's wife. It's laughable." Ignoring her mockery, I pushed past her and walked into the house. "Miss Fiona, are you going to leave on your own? Or do I need to ask security to escort you out?" Fiona paused for a moment and then burst out laughing. "Avery, what's wrong with you? If you have brain problems, go to the hospital. I'm pregnant and need to rest. Stop testing my patience." Before she could finish, I called out loudly to the security guards, "Throw this trespasser out of my house and take down all the wedding photos." But no one moved when I spoke. They all turned to look at Fiona. Surrounded by the others, Fiona raised her chin and gave me a mocking look. "You really know how to bring me surprises, Avery. You're a has-been. Have you been dreaming of marrying Kale lately? You think you can boss around my staff? You are so funny. I'll tell you something else. Not only is Kale my husband, this mansion was a gift from him, and even the staff here are people that I chose." Seeing everyone's reaction, it felt like I had been doused in cold water. How could this happen? I'd never been to this mansion, but everything here, even the flowers in the garden, had been chosen according to my preferences. How could Fiona be so familiar with this place, and even be able to command the staff? Standing there in a daze, I was filled with questions. Fiona sneered and pushed her phone in my face. "Take a good look at how people are criticizing you. Then get on your knees and apologize to me. Otherwise, once my husband comes back, we won't let you get away with it." I felt dizzy, but the stream of hateful messages were still clear. "Avery's face is so swollen. Why doesn't she just leave? Does she think Kale will look at her if she keeps sticking around here? I didn't realize that Avery has gone this crazy. Amazing. Apologize already. Kneel down already. Apologize already. Kneel down already." Clenching my fist, I gave Fiona a glare. "Okay, Fiona. You think you can pull this on me while my husband is out of the country? Kale might not be here, but his assistant is. You just wait. I'll call the assistant, and we'll see who's the real deal." Out of breath, I called Kale's assistant. However, before I could make the call, Fiona suddenly turned and tossed a stack of documents on the table. "You don't need a stupid assistant, Avery. Open your eyes and see what this is." Then she started to hold up each document in front of the camera. "This is the property deed to the mansion, and see that it's under my name, Fiona. This is my marriage certificate with Kale, Avery. Take a good look. Also, this is the document for the prenatal checkup that Kale signed when I registered at the hospital." I took the pregnancy file and looked at the signature in the bottom right corner. It was indeed Kale's writing. This was impossible. Kale had pursued me for 5 years, and after we got married, he had been so devoted. He was always by my side except when he was filming. Even if he wanted to cheat, he wouldn't have the chance. My head was spinning. I looked at the document carefully and noticed a detail. Fiona's registration date was the 6th of last month. That was my birthday. Kale had stayed home with me all day to celebrate. If the prenatal paperwork was fake, then the property deed and marriage certificate must be fake as well. She was so bold that she would forge certificates. I shook the documents and was about to expose her, when Kale's assistant rushed in. Seeing him, I was filled with hope. Now I had witnesses and evidence. "Fiona, I'm going to destroy you in front of millions of people. Assistant Zhang." Fiona even called the assistant by his last name. I rolled my eyes and sat in the middle of the sofa. I looked at Assistant Zhang. This woman is claiming to be Kale's wife, and even saying that this mansion was a gift from Cale. Have you ever heard about it? Looking at my expression, Fiona sneered. Enough, Avery. My place is about reasoning, not about who's better at talking. Assistant Zhang, you're with my husband every day. Who is Cale's wife? Assistant Zhang looked at me, stammered, and after hesitating for a bit, whispered. Our movie star's wife is, of course, Miss Fiona. I couldn't believe my ears. Assistant Zhang, have you gone crazy? Just a few days ago, Cale told you to deliver flowers to my house. Have you forgotten that? Even if you forgot that, you were at our wedding. You. Before I could finish, Fiona slapped me hard across the face. You leech, stop dreaming. You don't even deserve to have a wedding with my husband. Now you have the evidence and witnesses. Stop trying to argue. I was caught completely off guard and my head was ringing. Took me a while to recover. I grabbed Assistant Zhang's sleeve and asked why he was lying. But no matter what I said, Assistant Zhang just shook his head, repeating that Cale's wife was Fiona. On the projection in the center of the mansion, the curses directed towards me grew. Avery seems crazy. Is she mentally ill? I don't care if she has psychological issues, but if she tries to harass Fiona, her baby needs to die. That's right, Avery. You leech. Go to hell with your illegitimate child. Looking at the flood of insults, my head started to spin. But Cale was really my husband. He kissed my hair goodbye before he left and promised that he would stay home with me after he came back. What was happening? Was I being cheated on? No, that's impossible. We were legally married at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Even if he was a movie star, he couldn't be married to two women at the same time, right? Then it hit me. I remembered the prenatal exam form. I held up the form and pointed at the date. Fiona, it's impossible for my husband Cale to accompany you for your prenatal appointment. That was my birthday. Cale never left the house that day. Fiona was still sneering. I looked directly at the screen. Everyone watching, you must be Cale's fans, right? You can easily find out if Cale was actually seen going out on the 6th of last month. As soon as I finished speaking, a reply came from Cale's biggest fan. What she's saying is true. I'm a Cale's private fan. I keep a record of everything he does. He didn't leave the house on the 6th of last month. After the fan's message, there was a moment of silence, as everyone was confused. That's not possible. Cale has signed my autograph and his handwriting is exactly the same. If he didn't go out, then who accompanied Fiona at the hospital? Fiona wouldn't be so old that she would mistake a random guy for her husband, would she? I feel like this entire thing is so weird. They both seem so confident. Who is really telling the truth? Fiona was also stunned, clutching the prenatal paperwork, her mind racing. In the silence, Assistant Zhang's lips twitched. He grabbed me and dragged me towards the door. Avery, that's enough. Before leaving, Cale told me to protect his wife. Why are you so cruel, using these baseless claims to upset Mrs. Cale? Are you doing this on purpose, trying to hurt her child while the movie star is out of the country? I was so furious with Assistant Zhang that I tried to break free. Open your blind eyes. You are my husband's assistant. Who gave you the right to lay your hands on me? Don't touch me. I'm calling the police to see who's telling the truth. Fiona, not to be outdone, yelled even louder. Call the police then. I'm not afraid of your fake show. I'll call the police and have them see how many years you should be in jail for trespassing and insulting me. We both argued and pulled out our phones. The previously furious Assistant Zhang suddenly stopped us both. Everyone calmed down. Calling the police would not be good for Cale's image. How about this? Although Cale is overseas, his parents are still here. Let's call them to confirm the situation. I was furious, but he had a point. Cale was a celebrity. Countless eyes were on him. His rivals were all waiting for him to fall from his position. Making things public wouldn't be a good idea for our little family. Besides, I hadn't spent a lot of time with my mother-in-law, but she would never not recognize me. With that, I pursed my lips and pulled out my phone to call her. But just before pressing the dial button, I stopped and looked at Fiona. Since this was your idea, you call her. Fiona had likely paid off Cale's assistant and the housekeeper. But I was certain that she did not have my mother-in-law's private phone number. My mother-in-law loved peace and quiet. She liked to stay home, practicing calligraphy and arranging flowers. She rarely interacted with outsiders. Fiona, being a celebrity, might be able to buy off Cale's people, but it would be impossible for her to buy off my mother-in-law. Hearing me, Fiona smiled, revealing all her teeth. What's wrong, Avery? Don't tell me you don't have Cale's mother's number. With a smug look, she pulled out her phone and called my mother-in-law with an affectionate greeting. A gentle voice answered. Oh, my dear daughter-in-law, why do you think of me today? Fiona had purposely turned on the speaker so everyone could hear. A wave of cheers erupted from the comments. Cale's mother has confirmed that Fiona is her daughter-in-law. Avery, kneel down already. Even if other things can be faked, Cale's mother can't. Avery's face is swollen. I can't stop laughing. How can someone be so shameless? How can this be? In disbelief, I snatched the phone from Fiona, my eyes filled with tears. Mom, what's happening? I am Avery, I am your daughter-in-law. Before I could say more, Fiona snatched the phone back. Mom, Cale went abroad to film, and this Avery showed up out of nowhere, claiming to be pregnant with a child of our family. What's with people these days? There was a pause from the other end of the line, followed by a light chuckle. That's hilarious. It seems everyone is trying to leech off of our family these days. My sweet daughter-in-law, you wait there. I'm coming to support you. After that sentence, the call ended. Fiona was smiling brightly, but I noticed something was off. Cale's mother was very educated and well-mannered. She hated when people used vulgar language. Fiona's behavior was exactly the kind she disliked. But not only did my mother-in-law not reprimand her, but she also comforted Fiona and wanted to come and support her. This could only mean that the mother on the phone was fake. Everything suddenly made sense. I looked at Fiona. Fiona, that wasn't Cale's mother. That wasn't my mother-in-law. Before I could finish, Fiona cut me off. Of course, it's not your mother-in-law, because she's my mother-in-law. If I recall correctly, your mother-in-law even made a cameo in one of Cale's movies last year. You can take a look at the screen and see if my mother-in-law is the same person from the movie. Looking at Fiona's confident expression, I was confused again. If she had said that, it meant that she must have met Cale's mother. But at our wedding, my mother-in-law had said that she only recognized me, Avery, as her daughter-in-law. Why was she supporting Fiona now? My head was a mess. I could not make any sense of the situation. Everything was too strange. Was Cale really cheating on me? Seeing my anxious face, the curses from the fans became even more intense. Avery, stop being so stubborn. You'll get beaten up soon, trust me. I'm dying laughing. She's so stubborn and so stupid. Cale's mother is on her way. Why doesn't she run? If I had Avery's willpower, I would probably have a doctorate degree by now. I was anxious and confused, so I decided to close my eyes and wait quietly. A little while later, the door opened once again. It was indeed my mother-in-law. If the other documents could be faked, if the staff around Cale could be bought off, Fiona was a celebrity. She could not have been able to hire Cale's mother. But the woman was standing right in front of me. I couldn't help but believe her. I was numb. I felt like the sky was collapsing. What was going on? Our happy life over the past years couldn't have been an illusion. Right, Cale? It was at this moment I finally remembered to call Cale for help. But just as I took out my phone to dial, my mother-in-law rushed at me, slapping me to the ground. You little vixen, are you trying to steal my daughter-in-law's place? My daughter-in-law is pure as gold, and she's pregnant with our precious grandchild. If you upset her, I'll take your life. She was screaming and hitting me. As I struggled, I realized something. This was not my mother-in-law. It couldn't be. My mother-in-law was graceful and elegant. She was always polite and poised. She would never curse and beat up a pregnant woman. I struggled to get back on my feet and returned the slap with all my might. Who are you? Why are you pretending to be Cale's mother? The woman's face immediately swelled up. Fiona was startled and rushed to protect her, lashing out at me. Are you done yet? What do you want? You wanted proof. I showed you the marriage certificate and prenatal document, and you refused to believe me. Then I had Cale's mother here. Why don't you confess now? Everyone tell me. What do we do with this crazy Avery? The messages flooded with mockery and insults. Fiona smiled and looked at the middle-aged woman. "Mom, you are the victim here. Tell me what would make you feel better." The woman, who looked a lot like my mother-in-law, glared at me and said the most horrible thing. "Call all the security guards here. Get rid of her child. Our family cannot let Avery run free, or any leech will think they can latch onto our family." Looking at the woman's vicious expression, I pounced on her, grabbing her hair. "My baby is a leech? It's you who is a leech." My hand went up to her hairline and started feeling around. I had heard rumors of actors using human skin masks. This woman could be an actress Fiona hired beforehand. However, I found nothing. No matter how much I pulled, the woman's face didn't change at all. She did look exactly like my mother-in-law. Was she a twin? Before I could ask, the security guards rushed over and held me down. Fiona helped her mother-in-law up, looking down at me angrily. "Avery, we gave you so many chances. But you refused to repent. You had to go against our family. In that case, we'll let you see the consequences of an egg hitting a stone." Then the old woman grabbed my hair, forcing me to look up. She then kicked me in the stomach. I curled up in pain, trying to protect my stomach, but the guards pinned me down. Not satisfied with one kick, the old woman slapped me across the face, cursing and insulting me. I was filled with hatred. I bit down on her hand as her next slap was about to land. The old woman screamed in pain and started hitting me with whatever she could grab. With all the anger I was holding in, I bit down harder and refused to let go. Screams, insults, and loud noises filled the villa. Amidst the chaos, I heard Cale's angry voice. "Stop this right now. Who authorized you to hurt my wife?" The noisy villa fell silent. Everyone turned towards Cale. Fiona was the first to react. With tears in her eyes, she rushed to him. "Darling, you are finally home. This Avery is pretending to be me. You." Before she could finish, Cale started slapping her across the face. "Fiona, who gave you the right to break into my house and hurt my wife? All of you are in trouble." Fiona was dumbfounded, covering her swollen face and not even knowing how to cry. "Darling, what do you mean? Didn't you want to marry me when the baby was born? Cale, I'm pregnant with your child. You cannot let me down." But Cale had moved his gaze from Fiona to the old woman. He looked shocked. "Aunt? Why are you here? And why are you helping Fiona bully my wife?" The old woman immediately backed off and stood in the corner, not daring to look up. Cale rushed to me and gave me a hug. "Wife, are you okay? How did they bully you? Tell me everything and I will get them back." Seeing Cale's familiar face, my pent-up grievances were finally released. I started sobbing on his shoulder. "Why does Fiona have a marriage certificate with you? Why is the mansion written under her name? Cale, what have you been doing behind my back?" Cale was confused. He looked down for a moment and looked at Assistant Zhang. "What the heck is going on?" Assistant Zhang trembled, explaining. "Bro, this is all a misunderstanding." Cale looked cold and said, "Okay, you better explain everything clearly, or I will make sure that you regret messing with my family." Assistant Zhang was trembling even more now. He finally confessed the truth. "Before you left, Fiona found out your room number and wanted to sleep with you. I was just trying to protect you. I wanted to take your place. Then Fiona was pregnant. I wanted to keep the child. So I forged the documents and told my mom what to do." His voice got softer as he spoke. He was crying towards the end. "But Fiona thought I was you. What could I do? I could not let my own child be aborted." Before he could finish, Fiona pounced on him. "How dare you trick me? I'll kill you. Stop talking nonsense. I'm pregnant with Cale's child. How could I sleep with a disgusting man like you?" Fiona tried to beat Assistant Zhang, while the aunt joined in, grabbing Fiona's hair. "It's your fault. If you hadn't seduced my son, do you think he would have touched you? You were dreaming of marrying Cale. And now you want to get into the family with that unknown child? You almost destroyed my son." The three of them were fighting, hair flying everywhere. I leaned on Cale's shoulder and looked at the live stream on the wall. The fans in the live stream were going wild. What a plot twist. Fiona seduced Cale, but ended up sleeping with Cale's assistant and getting pregnant with his child. Avery has been through so much. If Kale didn't come back so fast, the baby might have been hurt. I'm freaking out. How can Fiona be so stupid? She's not stupid, she planned all this. If she hadn't gone to sleep with other people, this wouldn't have happened. Amazing. The entertainment industry is indeed entertaining. Kale pursed his lips and picked me up. He walked past the people who were still fighting and told the security guards, "Guard this place. No one leaves until the police arrives." Then he hugged me and was about to leave. Assistant Zhang was the first one to come back to his senses. He grabbed Kale's leg. "Bro, I made a mistake. Please forgive me this once. My mom is old. If anything happens to her, I don't know what to do." Kale kicked Assistant Zhang. "You continued your wrongdoings and hurt my pregnant wife. Didn't you know that you could have killed her and my baby? From now on, I will cut all your support. I will hire the best lawyers to deal with everyone who touched my wife today." As soon as he finished speaking, Fiona screamed, "I'm bleeding. My baby. This is my baby with the movie star. We can't have anything go wrong. The movie star said he will come and see me once the baby is born. All those photos are proof of our love." Listening to her muttering, I looked at Kale. As if reading my mind, Kale whispered, "Those photos are from the movie set. Wife, I swear, I have nothing to do with Fiona." Looking at Kale's gentle expression, Fiona suddenly went crazy. "Darling, you are finally here. You only sent the assistant for the prenatal exams. I thought you didn't want me anymore." Kale used one hand to hold me and the other to push Fiona away. "Get away from me. If you dare touch my wife, I'll take your life." Fiona started to giggle. Baby, don't be afraid. When you are born, Daddy will marry Mommy." She was still bleeding, but she was completely oblivious to it, walking further away while holding her stomach. Assistant Zhang cursed and rushed to try to stop her. Then with a loud bang, a speeding car on the road sent them both flying. The aunt screamed and collapsed on the floor. Kale looked at her coldly and told the security guards, "Throw her out, don't leave her here and upset my wife." I looked at the three people who were either dead or injured side, and buried my head in Kale's arms. "You are not allowed to film so far away from home anymore." Kale touched my hair with affection. "I'm not filming anything anymore. I'll stay home and protect my two darlings."